Welcome back to a new video. So today's video is going to be my autumn TBR. Also, if I've been sitting in this same place in this same top for a few videos, I am having a bulk video filming day, so do not judge me. I've literally just been sitting here filming loads of videos. But yeah, I thought I'd do my autumn TBR video. So I am going to have like individual TBRs for each month because that kind of helps guide me. I also have some books, and by some I mean a lot, that are kind of like my priority throughout September to November-ish, maybe start of December-ish time, because then in December I like to read like Christmassy type books. But we do have a kind of like range, some especially building up to like Halloween. But yeah, let's just dive straight in. I've kind of like separated it into different categories, so we'll just go category by category and then the books in that category. And yeah, if you have any of these books on your TBR, then I would like to know, so let me know in the comments section. Or if you've got different ones, then I would also like to know that, but let me share all of the ones that I have with you guys. I feel like it'd be wrong not to start with this category because this is what I'm most excited about for autumn, and that is fantasy. So I have a big selection of fantasy reads. Some are series, so it's kind of ambitious, but we'll see how far we get with them. But the first one I have is Caraval, or the entire Caraval series, because I've not started a singular book, despite saying I will for the past few months, so I just haven't got to it. But yeah, very much excited to actually start this series and get to this series, because I've heard good things both about this and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which brings me to the next one, which is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I do actually want to try and read or start both of these series, preferably this year, this autumn season, because I feel like I'm out of the loop. Then I want to read the rest of the ACOTAR series, so I actually have 3 books left to read. I just grabbed this one because it was the easiest to get off my bookshelf, but I actually have A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is only a short one, and then this chunky A Court of Silver Flames book. So I do really want to finish the ACOTAR series. My friends have read it. I again am feeling out of the loop and I need more Favourite and Reese in my life, so yeah, I do really want to read this one. I feel like ACOTAR is probably actually my top priority in fantasy, to be honest. Although I really want to get to the Caraval series, I feel like because I've started ACOTAR, it's more likely I'm going to finish that one. I mean, this book is making me scared, but yeah. Then I have the One Dark Window duology by Rachel Gillig. So I actually only have the first book currently, but I'm trying to not buy entire duology / series when I buy a book. So I'm going to read this one first and then see whether I like it and then pick up the next one. But yeah, I feel like the duology is quite reasonable to want to read because there's only 2 books and then I'm done, so yeah. But I'm intrigued by the magic system in this one because I think it's like cards or something to help get rid of a disease. I could be wrong, I could be completely wrong, completely off kilter, but I've heard good things about it. So then we have more of like a fairy tale-esque type fantasy, and that is Assistant to the Villain. So I'm very excited to read this one. This is actually on my September TBR. If you want to see that video, then I'll link it up the top for you. So this one is going to be read in the month of September because I am desperate to read it, and I've heard such good things, and I've heard it's like just quite quirky, quite funny, and some of my favourite book besties have read it now and have just gave it glowing reviews, so very excited to get to this one. I feel like it's just going to be a quick, simple read, like not too much thought into it. And then the last one on my fantasy list is Six of Crows. I don't know if this is a duology or a trilogy, please let me know, I can't remember, but I am very intrigued because Bessie Sarah Caroli has said great things about this book, so very intrigued about this one. The next category that we have is spooky season themed. So these are basically any books that I associate with spooky season and Halloween. If you don't know me, then you're not going to know this, but I love a witch romance. I don't know why, but I'm a sucker for a witch romance. Some of my favourite films are like witchy films like Hocus Pocus. I will watch that endlessly every single year. The Halloween Town series from Disney, love. So I am a Halloween girly through and through, despite loving the summer and the hot weather, but I'm a Halloween girly through and through. So there's no shock here that I love a witch romance or a witch themed / spooky season themed book. So let's dive into the ones that I've got for this spooky season. The first one is Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I don't know too much about this and I kind of want to go into it blind. I don't really want to know much about it when I go into it, but I've heard great things about it and I believe there is a second one out now. But anything witch themed, just give me and I'm gonna read it. And the cover's pink. Like, how adorable is this? It's not giving spooky season cover, but the fact that it's witches gives spooky season. Then we have a spooky season romance, and that is Hex Appeal, which I think is actually, I don't know if it's like part of interconnected standalones, but I'm sure there's other ones that are very similar to this that I've seen. By the way, if you ever want to know a good place to get a witchy type romance, The Works around spooky season. They have so many good witch romances, normally in the 3 for 6 as well, so check them out if you're looking for a witch romance. This is where I got most of these from. So this is by Kate Johnson, and again, I don't know too much about it, but it's just a witch romance and that's all I need to know. Then we have A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, and if I love witches and you add fake dating in there, then obviously I'm going to buy this book. So yeah, I literally can't wait to read this one. I'm very intrigued. I bought this last year and just didn't get around to reading it. I had like other witchy romances to read last year, but this one just calling out to me. Then we have The League of Gentlewoman Witches. Yeah, that's how you say that. I don't, again, know too much about this, but spooky season and I'm there. I literally don't know anything about these books. And then the last one is The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I'm kind of saving this for like spooky season, and potentially Bride by Ali Hazelwood too, but I just have a lot of books to read this spooky season, so we'll see where we get to. But yeah, I've heard really, really good things about this, and I just thought, you know what, werewolves, we'll save it for the Halloween season. It could be read at any time, but I feel like it's just going to hit different if I read it around Halloween. Next category we then have our romances, and I'm not going to lie, most of them are sad romances. But that's fine. But first of all, we have Leather and Lark, which is the second one to Butcher and Blackbird. I've not heard good things about this. And now I'm upset, but I still want to read it. I want to have my own opinion on it, and I've bought it now, so it's going to be read. But yeah, I have not heard good things about this. But it's serial killer romance, so that just suits spooky season. It just needs to be read then. Then I want to read the rest of the Windy City series. Now, I've only read the first book, so I kind of want to read at least The Right Move and maybe Caught Up. I've heard good things about Play Along. Now, I do want to read that, but I obviously have The Right Move and Caught Up already, so I'm kind of just trying to get through my physical TBR first. So I at least want to read at least one more of them. Then we have Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, because we are having Sad Girl Autumn, and we're finally going to read this book because I need to read it before the year is out, because it's ridiculous if I don't. Like, I literally ordered this book so long ago. Like, I pre-ordered it and I had it on release date and I still haven't read it. I'm scared to read it, that's why, but I still haven't read it yet. And I feel like Sad Girl Autumn is the perfect time to just be sad and read Magnolia Parks. I just don't want Magnolia's and BJ's story to be over, to be honest. That's why I'm putting it off. Then we have another sad book, because like I said, the rest of them, I think, apart from one, I think are all going to be sad now. So we have If He Had Been With Me. Yes, I'm going to put myself through this, and yes, I'm going to cry. I haven't heard good things about the next one of this series, if it's going to be a series, or the one that links to this. I haven't heard good things about that one, to be honest. Most people have said it's quite underwhelming, considering like this is such a good book, but I have heard great things about this one, so we're going to see for ourselves, and we're probably going to cry, and it's going to be okay, because it's, like I say, Sad Girl Autumn is fine. Then we have A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Again, another sad story, and the next one has actually come out now, so I kind of want to read this and get up to date on the releases, because I am behind and so many people have read this and I haven't read it, so kind of need to get around to it. The cover was just putting me off. It's just annoying. I don't even let it sit on this bookshelf. It has to go in the book cupboard that no one can see. Then I have Before We Were Strangers, which I've heard such good things about. just the dark covers are giving me autumn vibes. I don't know why, but yeah, bestie Sarah has said so many good things about this book, and I think she wanted to reread it, like that's how much she liked it. So yeah, I really want to get to this one. I've heard good things about it. I don't know if it's a second chance romance. Oh, as I said that, I literally read second chance love on the top, so I think it is a second chance romance, which I love. Then we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I don't think this one is sad. I think it is about a ghost. So again, perfect time to read this, and I love Ashley Poston's writing. I've read The 7 Year Slip and A Novel Love Story, so I think this one was the first one that came out, or the first one she released, so I kind of need to read the backlog, so I need to read this one. But again, I've just been saving it for autumn season, but I am excited to read it, and I love her writing and I love the concepts in her book. And then the last book / series that I have that I want to read is the Boys of Tommen series. This is being classed in the romance category, but I feel like it has obviously deeper meanings to it than just romance, so if you are looking to read this, then perhaps think about that and look up the trigger warnings. I don't really get triggered by anything, to be honest, when I'm reading, and if I do, I literally just close the book and I've had enough. So yeah, but maybe look up trigger warnings for these ones if you're looking to read them. But I'm very excited to actually get to this series and see what the hype is about, but also very anxious too. But this is actually on my September TBR as well, so we're probably going to get to it in September because I am desperate to read this series, or just at least start this series. The next category we have is mysteries and thrillers, and it is a shorter, smaller category. We only have a couple of books in this one. So the first one is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now I have the first and the second one in the series, so if I could preferably read both of them, then that would be good, but at least the first one. Yeah, I don't really know much about this, to be honest. I just know that it's about, is it Pip? I think her name is. And she's basically trying to solve an old murder case, I think. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to actually get to this one because again, I've heard such good things and I really want to watch the series, but I do not want to watch it before reading the book. Then we have 2 Freedom McFadden books because I'm slowly working my way through Freedom McFadden's backlog of books, and I think she's just had a new release as well, so I'm like, I'm feeling stressed, there's too many books to read. So I've actually made a big dent in my Freedom McFadden like physical TBR. I think I've read like 3-4 of her books this year, so I've made a big dent in that. But the ones that I want to read in this season are The Locked Door, which I believe is about a serial killer, so, or someone was a serial killer. Her dad was a serial killer. So her dad is a serial killer, and then I don't know if she's like a nurse or a doctor or something, but her patients start dying in the same way that those victims did, which just is very intriguing to me. So I'm very excited to actually get to this, and Frida always has a good twist in there. Sometimes I do guess them, not all of the twists, but sometimes I guess like a couple of the smaller twists that are in the book. So yeah, I love her thrillers / mysteries, so I can't wait to read this one. And then the other one that I have is Never Lie, which I haven't heard the best reviews on this one, to be honest, like compared to the other ones, but I still want to read it nevertheless. So I believe they're on like a house search, and then they come across a house by an old psychiatrist, and then there's like tapes in there, I believe. And he's basically, this psychiatrist has gone missing, so I don't know if these tapes like uncovered that, but it just says like they listen to the tapes and then there's like a piece of the puzzle falls together. So I believe it's about like his disappearance and them finding him, I believe, but it's like his house that they're looking at, if that made any sense whatsoever. But yeah, I'm really excited to just read another Freedom McFadden book. They're always just so quick to read, like really quick pace. Then the last category I have, I'm just classing as like literature fiction / other literature. So the first one we have is a hefty book, and again, if you're going to read this, please look up trigger warnings because I think it's a really heavy read, and that is A Little Life. Now I feel like I am ready to read this now. I just felt like earlier in the year I probably wasn't in the best place to read it, but I feel okay to be reading it, so I am going to start this. I think I might start it soon and kind of read like other books in between, because I feel like I'm probably going to need a bit of a break when reading this, to be quite honest, because it's a very big book. I mean, how many pages is this? I mean, it's like over 700 pages, and I think it's very descriptive of some of the things that happen in here. I kind of have a gist of what happens in here, to be honest, just from how people have reacted, and I've just kind of guessed. But I am feeling that I'm now ready to read it, and I am anticipating, like I am nervous about reading it, but I do feel like I'm ready now. So yeah, if you're gonna read it, probably just check trigger warnings and stuff, and make sure you're in the right headspace to read it. Then I have Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. So I again have heard like mixed reviews on this book, but I've heard good things about Coco Mellors because she's got so many books out at the moment and people are reading them left, right and centre, and I'm getting jealous. So I want to actually pick up one that I have already. So I have Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I don't actually think it has anything to do with Cleopatra and Frankenstein the people, but yeah, I'm saving it for this time. I don't know, it just feels right to read it. I'm just in the mood to read it, and I feel like literature fiction again is more of like a autumny type read. You don't want too much going on up here in the summer, but in the autumn you've got time to think about stuff. Then we have Yellowface, which again I've heard really good things about. I think this is kind of about what's the word, I can't think of my descriptive words right now, but I think it's about like stuff that goes on behind the scenes of acting. I think, I'm not sure. I'm gonna read you the blurb just so you know what I know then. This is one hell of a story, it's just not hers to tell. When failed writer June Hayward witnesses her rival Athena, I think you say Lou, die in a freak accident, she sees her opportunity and takes it. So what if it means stealing Athena's final manuscript? So what if it means borrowing her identity? And so what if the first lie is only the beginning? Finally, June has the fame she always deserved, but someone is about to expose her. What happens next is entirely everyone else's fault. Okay, that's not what I thought it was, but I do think there's like behind the scenes of like what goes on in Hollywood, not necessarily Hollywood, but like acting world. I think I'm not sure, I'm really not sure, but I'm sure someone described it as that when I watched a video, but I actually have no idea, so ignore me. But yeah, this is on my list to read. Then I have the Beartown series. Now I am planning to read Beartown on my August TBR, but then I also have the second one in the series already on my physical TBR, so I'm looking to continue that series throughout autumn and winter. Apparently it is more of like a wintry read, as in like it's set in the winter, so yeah. But I've heard great things about this. I've heard great things about Frederick Backman in general, and I really want to read some of his other books, like I think A Man Called Ovi and Anxious People. Bestie Sarah has just read Anxious People, and the way she described it just sounded really interesting, so I am really looking forward to reading that one, and getting my hands on that one. So but yeah, I'm going to start with the Beartown series because I already have this one, and it's like a highly anticipated read for me. Then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Again, I feel like this is just a dark academia style book and it's just perfect to read in the autumn. I have actually been holding this off for so long. I think I bought it last autumn and didn't get around to reading it, so I've saved it the whole of this year to read in autumn this year. The fact that I bought this nearly a year ago is beyond me because it doesn't feel like a year ago whatsoever. I bought it on my annual trip to London, like, and I just can't believe that was last year. That is beyond me. But yeah, I've heard great things about this, and yeah, like I say, it's dark academia. I don't know too much about it, but I feel like there's like mystery type thing going on in here. I'm not sure, but again, I'm going into it blind because I don't want to know too much about it when going into this book. But I've heard good things, and I'm very excited to finally get around to it. And the last one that I've heard is kind of like being in a fever dream when you read it, and that is Bunny. But again, I feel like this is more of a dark academia thing, so again, I'm just saving it for the autumn months, and I just feel like if I read it at any other time of the year it just wouldn't suit the season. So I feel like you have to wait for the perfect time to read certain books, and I feel like now's that time. I'm just in the mood to read more literature fiction at the moment, especially going into autumn, so I feel like now's a good time to pick this up. But those are actually all the books on my autumn TBR, can you believe it or not? I literally have so many that I want to read this season, but I suppose like I do have from like September right through to November, December time to actually get through all of those books, or at least some of them. I just kind of have like, at least I have that rough idea of what I want to be reading and what my priorities are, to be honest. I feel like romances were very much prioritised in the summer because that's what I've been in the mood for, and now I'm definitely in the mood for more cosy sad literature, fiction, fantasy style reads. So that's what I'm going to be prioritising throughout the next couple of months. If you actually want me to read like any of these, like if they're a priority for you to watch me read in a vlog, then let me know down below and I can kind of like knock them up the priority list. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in another one super soon. Bye.